The world tilted the night I woke up married to a Beastman. Not just any Beastman, Kale. 7 feet of muscle, fur, and amber eyes that could burn through steel, staring at me like I was his entire universe. And me. I'm just Elliot Carter, a 29-year-old mechanic from nowhere, Montana, who thought marriage was a word for other people. Not a human guy who'd never even kissed a man. It started with a haze. A fever dream I couldn't shake. 1 minute, I'm fixing a busted carburetor in my garage. The next, I'm standing in a forest clearing. A strange elder chanting words I don't understand. Kale's massive hand gripping mine. An Akita kid, clinging to my leg, calling me Papa. I don't know how I got here, or why this 6-year-old with Kale's eyes and my stubborn jaw thinks I'm his dad. But the elder's words still echo, bound by blood, sealed by stars. I want out. I want a divorce. I'm not gay. I'm not a father. And I'm definitely not cut out for whatever this is. Kale's cabin smells of pine and leather. A far cry from my greasy garage. He moves like a predator. Every step deliberate. His fur brushing the walls as he sets a plate of venison stew in front of me. Eat, Elliot, he says, voice low, like he's trying not to scare me. But I'm scared. Not of his claws or the fangs that flash when he speaks, but of the way his gaze softens when he looks at me. Like I'm more than just a guy who stumbled into the wrong life. The kid, Luca, watches us from the floor, stacking wooden blocks, his tiny tail twitching. He's half Beastman, half human, and somehow, he's ours. I don't get it. I don't want it. But when Luca's eyes meet mine, wide and trusting, something in my chest cracks. You don't remember the bonding, Kale says. Not a question. He's leaning against the counter, arms crossed, his fur catching the firelight. The ritual. The vow. You chose this, Elliot. You chose me. His voice carries a weight I can't carry. A mix of hope and hurt that makes me want to bolt. I shove the stew away, my hands shaking. I didn't choose anything. I snap. I'm not. I don't even know you. I'm not into guys. I'm not a dad. This is a mistake. Kale's eyes darken, but he doesn't argue. He just watches me, like he's waiting for something I don't know how to give. The first week is hell. I sleep on the couch, or try to, with Lucas sneaking in to curl up against me. His warmth both comforting and suffocating. Kale keeps his distance, but I catch him staring when he thinks I'm not looking. He's not what I expected. He's gentle with Luca, teaching him to carve wood or track deer. But there's a raw edge to him, like he's holding back a storm. I tell myself I'll leave. I'll find a way back to my old life. My garage. My solitude. But every time I try to plan an escape, Luca's laugh stops me. Or Kale's quiet good night. Elliot hits like a punch I didn't see coming. One night, I find a journal under the couch, leather-bound and worn. It's mine. Somehow, filled with my handwriting. Entries I don't remember writing. Kale saved me from the river. I owe him. Luca's smile is like sunlight. I said yes under the stars. And I meant it. My heart pounds as I read. Each word a stranger's confession. Did I write this? Did I love him? The thought twists my gut. I'm straight. I've always been straight. But the journal feels like a map to a life I've lost. And Kale's presence steady, unshakable, makes me question everything. By week 2, I'm unraveling. Luca asks me to read him a bedtime story, and I fumble through it, my voice cracking as he snuggles closer. Kale watches from the doorway, his expression unreadable. "You're good with him," he says later, when we're alone. "He needs you." I want to scream that I'm not what he needs, that I'm not what either of them needs. But the words stick in my throat. Instead, I mutter, "I'm not staying." Kale's jaw tightens, but he nods, like he's bracing for a blow. "You're free to go," he says, but his voice breaks, and I hate how it makes me feel. The forest around the cabin feels alive, whispering secrets I can't decode. I wander out one evening, desperate for air, and find Kale by the river, shirtless, his fur glinting in the dusk. He's splitting wood, each swing of the axe precise, powerful. He stops when he sees me, and for a moment, we just stare. "Why me?" I blurt out. "Why'd you pick a guy like me?" Kale sets the axe down, his eyes locking onto mine. "Because you're brave," he says. "Because you're kind. Because when you looked at Luca, you didn't run." His words hit like a tidal wave, and I turn away, my chest tight. I don't know how to be the man he sees. That night, I dream of the ritual. Firelight, chanting, Kale's hand in mine, warm and sure. I wake up gasping, my body humming with a feeling I can't name. Luca's asleep beside me, and Kale's in the next room, his breathing steady through the thin walls. I clutch the journal, my fingers tracing the words I don't remember writing. I want a divorce. I want to run. But the thought of leaving them, Kale, Luca, this strange, impossible family feels like tearing out my own heart. The days blur into a rhythm I don't want to admit I'm starting to crave. Mornings with Luca, his small hand tugging me to see a bird's nest or a new carving he's made with Kale. Evenings with Kale, his quiet presence filling the cabin with a warmth I can't ignore. But every night, I lie awake, the journal burning a hole in my thoughts. Its pages tell a story of a man who loved fiercely, who chose this life. I'm not that man. I can't be. Yet every time Kale's eyes meet mine, I feel like I'm betraying someone. Luca, or maybe myself. The town nearby, a small speck called Pine Hollow, is where things get messy. We go for supplies, and I feel the stares. Kale's kind isn't common. Hair beastmen are rare. Misunderstood. Whispered about in bars and churches. I'm just the human guy trailing behind him, Luca clutching my hand. But the townsfolk look at us like we're a scandal waiting to happen. A woman at the general store mutters something about unnatural bonds, and I clench my fists, ready to snap. Kale's hand brushes my shoulder, a silent anchor, and I hate how much I lean into it. Back at the cabin, I confront him. They think we're together. Like that. My voice is sharp, defensive. Kale's chopping herbs, his claws deft and precise. He doesn't look up. "We are together," he says simply. The bond made it so. I slam my hand on the table, startling Luca, who's drawing nearby. "I didn't ask for this." "I'm not." I stop, the word gay choking in my throat. Kale's eyes flicker with pain, but he keeps chopping. "You don't have to be anything you're not," he says quietly. "But you're here. That's enough for now." Luca's the one who breaks me. One afternoon, he drags me to a clearing, his tiny face lit up as he shows me a flower crown he made. "For you, Papa," he says. and my heart stops. I kneel, letting him place it on my head, and his giggle is a knife and a bomb all at once. Do you love Daddy Kale? He asks, innocent and brutal. I freeze, my mouth dry. It's complicated. I manage. But Luca just tilts his head, like he sees through me. That night, I catch Kale watching us from the porch, his expression raw, unguarded. I look away, but my pulse races, and I hate how much I want to cross that distance. The journal becomes my obsession. I read it in secret, tracing entries that feel like another man's life. Kale's laugh is like thunder, but soft, like he's afraid to break me. I told Luca I'd stay forever. Each word chips away at my resolve. One entry stops me cold. I was scared. But Kale held me, and I wasn't alone anymore. I slammed the journal shut, my breath ragged. I'm not that guy. I'm not. But when Kale finds me, sitting by the river with the journal in my lap, he doesn't push. He just sits beside me, his warmth seeping into my side. And for the first time, I don't pull away. Trouble comes when a hunter from town, a grizzled man named Roy, spots us by the river. He's drunk, his words slurring as he calls Kale a freak and me a traitor to humanity. I step in front of Kale, my fists clenched, but Roy's faster, shoving me into the water. Kale's roar shakes the trees, and in a blur, he's got Roy pinned, claws at his throat. Touch him again, and you're done. Kale growls, his voice lethal. Roy scrambles away, but the damage is done. The town's whispers turn to threats, and I realize we're not just fighting for us, we're fighting for Luca. That night, Kale stitches a cut on my arm from the fall, his touch gentle despite his claws. You didn't have to protect me, I mutter, but he shakes his head. I'd die for you, Elliot. His words are a punch, and I look away, my throat tight. I want to tell him I'm not worth it, that I'm still planning to leave, but the lie won't come. Instead, I let his hand linger, and when Luca crawls into my lap, I hold him close, Kale's arm brushing mine. It's the closest we've ever been, and it terrifies me how right it feels. The journal's last entry haunts me. I love them both, and it's tearing me apart. I don't know if I wrote it, but it's true. I'm falling, and I don't know how to stop. Kale catches me reading it one night, and his voice is soft, almost broken. You don't have to be him, Elliot. Just be you. I want to scream that I don't know who I am anymore, but instead, I lean into him, my forehead against his chest, and for a moment, the world makes sense. The cabin feels like a fortress and a prison as the town's hostility grows. Notes appear on our doorstep, crude threats scrawled in black ink, calling Kale a monster, me a disgrace, and Luca an abomination. I burn them before Luca sees, but Kale's eyes darken with every new one. We should leave, he says one night, his voice heavy. For Luca, I want to agree, to run back to my old life. But the thought of leaving him, Luca, us feels like betrayal. I'm still shouting, I want a divorce in my head. But my heart's not listening. Luca's nightmares start soon after. He wakes up crying, clinging to me, whispering about bad men coming for us. I hold him, promising safety I'm not sure I can deliver. Kale watches from the doorway, his fists clenched, and I see the guilt in his eyes. This is my fault, he says later, when Luca's asleep. I brought you into this. I want to argue. To tell him I'm here because of some cosmic mistake. But the journal's words echo, I chose him. Maybe I did. Maybe I still do. The breaking point comes when Roy and his buddies show up at dawn, torches in hand, shouting for Kale to leave or burn. I grab Luca, shielding him, while Kale steps outside, his growl low and dangerous. Go, he tells me, his eyes pleading. Take Luca and run. But I can't. I won't. I hand Luca to a neighbor we trust, an old woman who's never judged us. And I stand beside Kale, my heart pounding. I'm not leaving you, I say, and the words feel like a vow. Roy swings a bat, and Kale takes the hit, blood matting his fur. But he doesn't falter. I tackle Roy, my fists flying. Not for me, but for the me family. The fight ends with the sheriff pulling us apart, Roy and his crew slinking off with warnings. Kale's bleeding, but he's alive. And when he looks at me, there's something new in his eyes, hope. We're bruised, shaken, but together. That night, I burned the journal. I don't need it anymore. The man who wrote it is me, and I'm done running from it. I find Kale by the fire, Luca asleep in his arms, and I sit beside them, my hand resting on Kale's. I'm staying, I whisper, and his smile is brighter than the stars. Months later, we're still in Pine Hollow, but it's different. Some folks still whisper, but others neighbors. Shopkeepers start to see us, really see us. Luca starts school, his tail tucked under his clothes, but his smile is fearless. Kale and I rebuild, not just the cabin but us. We talk, we fight, we laugh, and somewhere along the way, I realize I'm not just a straight human man anymore. I'm Elliot, Kale's husband, Luca's dad, and that's enough. One evening, under the same stars where this all began, Kale takes my hand. You could have left, he says, his voice soft. Why didn't you? I look at him, at Luca playing nearby, and the answer is simple. Because I love you, I say, and it's the truest thing I've ever said. Kale pulls me close, his warmth enveloping me, and for the first time, I don't feel trapped. I feel free. The bond that started as a curse becomes our strength. We're not perfect, Kale's stubborn. I'm a mess half the time. And Luca's got enough energy to drive us both crazy, but we're ours. The world can judge, threaten, or try to tear us apart. But we've built something stronger. Love, messy and real, holds us together. And as Luca runs to us, laughing, I know I'd choose this life 1,000 times over.